Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Monday, June 30th, 2025 Board of Selectmen meeting to order. Could we stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So underneath the chairman's announcements, just want to highlight Nicholas Dion, who has worked on a Eagle Scout project, building 3 collection boxes for flags, to be able to be dropping off old flags at the fire station, as well as the town hall and the Scout Hall on Church Street. The boxes look great if people had a chance to take a look at them, and it's a great job from Nicholas. I know he raised over $1,000 and put his time into it this last several months.
Yeah, great idea too. As a matter of fact, I got one in my truck. I got to put in the box.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely very positive. So next item, number 4, just going through, is there anybody wish to speak on anything on our agenda that's not here?
Can I make a comment on what you're just talking about? Is that or no?
Sure.
Yes?
Yep.
Okay, I'm a veteran, Vietnam War veteran, no combat, but I served during the Vietnam War. And the reason I mention that is the VA used to have these flag deposit boxes for retiring flags. And I just want to make a note that they don't have them anymore, that I've seen. And I just want to say thank you very much for supplying those, because I know that a lot of people have flags that want to dispose of them properly. And I think that it's a great idea. I didn't know that you guys were doing it. I probably would have contributed myself if I had been made aware of it. But I think it's an excellent service.
Yep. I think they'll be used more and more. There's a lot of folks that have flags, old flags and stuff like that. I know it'd definitely be a great service to provide and going forward. And glad the Boy Scouts, were able to do that. And it's a great project for one of the Eagle Scouts.
Yeah, Dan, this board can't take credit for that. Good idea. Yep. That was from one of our youth in the community. So kudos to Mr. Dian for seeing a need and filling it.
Can I say something else? Is there some sort of a recognition can be granted to whoever it was that put this all together?
I think we just did.
Yeah, we just recognized them.
No, I mean, is there some sort of an award, formal recognition, something?
I think the Boy Scouts do something because it's part of the Eagle Scouts projects and stuff like that. So,
when he goes through the program and he meets all the marks to become an Eagle Scout, there's a ceremony and they'll highlight and celebrate his particular project at that time.
Yeah, when I was the president of the William Henshaw chapter for 3 years in Worcester, Sons of the American Revolution, I used to give awards to ROTC candidates, people like that. So I didn't know if there was something similar, that recognition outside of just the internal organizations possible, ever done. I didn't know. So I apologize for my
Nope. No, it's all right. We got a light agenda and we're here for a few minutes anyway, so that's fine. And it'll also be in the town report.
Yep. Perfect. All right. Next item on the agenda, number 5, the internal department transfers. Jean, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for meeting. I appreciate you meeting a day early. So these are the intra-departmental transfers. There are some departments that needed additional funds as we close out the fiscal year. One of them is the generator outside, put the public building maintenance over budget for the rental and for some of the repair work. Do you want me to go through these individually? You'll take your vote? Do you want me to explain them broadly? What's your pleasure?
I think it would be easier to go through them individually because we're going to have to cast 4 votes because of each department.
Right. So the first grouping is going to the public building expense account. It's coming from 3 different sources: $4,000 from building wages, $4,000 from building expenses, and $12,000 from community development expenses. The caveat I promised I would say, it's not that the departments didn't need the funds. They don't want their department reduced next fiscal year, but due to circumstances and just the way the fiscal year rolled out, they had funds available for me to transfer from.
Excellent. Any questions for the board? Okay. Hearing none, seeing none. We can entertain a motion to do the first transfer. You want them one by one, Jean, at a time?
Sure,
And do that one?
sure. So to public building expense from the building wage account, the amount of $4,000.
Make a motion to support moving from the public building expense line item to the,
Nope, from building wages to public building expense.
oh, yeah, no, I flipped that over. All right, I'm trying to see if I can do this quickly. I'd like to take $4,000 from building and wages, $4,000 from building expenses, and $12,000 from community development expenses, and send that to the public building expense line item so we can pay our bills.
All right.
Second that.
All right, motion by Tim, seconded by Ross. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Jean, number 2.
Number 2 is to transfer from the nurses' wages account to the Board of Health wages account, $1,500. That account, that grouping of accounts was short $1,500 to close out the year. So in that department, there is admin, the minute taker, the beach tester, and the Board of Health agent. So as a group, they were short the $1,500.
So, unfair question to the finance lady. We pay for the beach testing even though it's not our beach?
We pay, but we do get some
Okay.
funding, so you can't, the expense is done, it's appropriated, the revenue comes into the town.
Okay, thank you.
They're not, nothing's ever netted out.
So I would make a motion that we move $1,500 from the nursing salaries line item to the Board of Health salaries line item.
All right, motion by Tim, seconded by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The third one, these are both for, third and fourth are both for fire and ambulance department. So the first one is taking it from the ambulance expense account, the sum of $2,000 to ambulance wages. The purpose, the 24/7 operations, they're trying to close out the year end. It's just, they're very tight, and we don't like to be this tight. They were called to Uxbridge last week, so we just needed to get some funds in, but they're taking it within their department, which is a good thing.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, entertain a motion.
Make a motion to move 2,000 from ambulance expense to ambulance wages.
Second.
All right, motion by Ross, seconded by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the last grouping would be from fire expense, a sum of $2,000, and from ambulance expense, a sum of $10,000, both towards fire wages for a total of $12,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tim, seconded by Ross. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Again, I would like to thank the board for having a meeting on June 30. Happy New Year's Eve.
Anything for us.
Yeah.
Glad to help you, Jean.
Oh, we tried.
Thank you.
Happy New Year's to you too.
Fiscal New Year's, right?
Right, that's right.
Have a good day.
All right. All right, let's move forward. Number 6, the memorial plaque for the Douglas Revolution War veterans. Dan Dudley?
Yes. Okay, so this is a project that I've been talking to the DAR and contemplating for a long time. I can't remember exactly how long ago I helped clean up the DAR plaque that somebody tried to clean and made a mark on it, and ever since I did that, they asked me to help because I've been working with graphic design as an amateur graphic designer for a long time. So I wasn't able to really do too much except try to blend it a little bit, but the reason I mention that is it brought my attention to the plaque. And one of the first things I noticed, other than the mark somebody put on it, was that it didn't list any of the names of the Revolutionary War soldiers out of Douglas. And the more I looked at it, the more it bothered me. Not only because my direct ancestor was a selectman here in town. I have relatives that served as combatants, Paul Dudley, Benjamin Dudley, related to the Wallace family, Benjamin Wallace, all served, and none of those names are listed anywhere. Sure, there's paper in the library. The DAR has, Betsy Dudley has, different people have, but it's not been gathered together and displayed for the public, and I think that needs to happen. I was initially, when I spoke with Matt, I said, well, maybe the town could, kick in. And then I finally just told myself, I don't want to go through a big, long process of getting the town to be willing to pay for anything, because God knows how long that would take. I said I'd pay for it myself. I'd organize it. I'd work with the DAR, work with the library, work with Betsy, whoever I've got to work with. And if people want to contribute, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll pay the whole thing myself. I don't care. I want something in town that recognizes our Revolutionary soldiers and people that served in non-combatant roles, like my ancestor, here in Douglas, so the public can be aware of who those people were. They're not just obscure reference to as it is now. Why the DAR didn't do that years ago, I don't know. Maybe one of the things I've run into is that there is not a really agreed upon complete list. Today, on the way over here, I stopped at the library and picked up a list of names that I'd never seen before. Rebecca gave it to me. She was nice enough to help me with that. And I originally thought that there was something like maybe 29 names, and then I found out there was another page, and there's really 45 names of Revolutionary War soldiers that are buried in Douglas, okay? But then there's a whole nother list of not knowing where these people are buried that were from Douglas that fought in the American Revolution. So, am I ready to go ahead with the project even if you all said yes? If you have the capability of doing that, I don't know if you still need to go to some other group or whatever to be able to say yes, even though I'm willing to pay for it. I'm not ready yet, because I want to have a completely accurate list to the best of anyone's ability. I want the DAR, the library, Betsy, whoever else is involved in this. I understand Lisa Mazinski is also doing some research on this, Rebecca told me. I want everyone to agree that we've got the best list we can have. Okay? The reason I passed out those pieces of paper is I wanted to show you the type of plaque that I had in mind, and on the first page. And this is what's being used in Connecticut, and they did a lot of research before they started putting these plaques up. It's made out of aluminum. It's made by a member of the Sons of the American Revolution at a discount to Sons of the American Revolution projects. So if he were to just charge retail, God knows what it would be, but to a plaque like that, of that size, which is something like 2 or 3 foot, 2 by 3 foot, sizable, the ballpark is somewhere around $3,000. And I've gotten other quotes that, for that size, of like bronze or brass or whatever, that are just like ridiculously high. I mean, I can't remember exactly what the figures are, but certainly more than $3,000. Betsy said she'd like to have one for the cemetery, because there's a similar plaque at the Douglas Center Cemetery that recognized Revolutionary soldiers, but there's no names. Okay, there may be some, I haven't looked at it, I'm just going from memory now what Betsy told me. But she said she's interested in a similar plaque for the cemetery. So that's it. I'm just here to put out my project so that people can see what I'm trying to do. I'm not ready to actually have the rubber meet the road yet, but I am curious what the reaction of the select board is to my project.
Hey, Mike?
have you considered, you're suggesting inside the building, right?
Right next to the DAR plaque over there, that one for right now.
And I'm going to ask you a question now, I'll tell you why I'm asking. Have you considered outside of the building? On the outside face?
Yeah, Betsy actually, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Betsy actually liked the idea of making it more visible. So she's in agreement with you, you know.
So I haven't made up my mind, so something to agree to, but I'm a reactionary guy, right?
That's fine.
So the Boy Scouts go around to all the different monuments every Memorial Day, and they have their little ceremony that they do. If it's inside the building, it's going to be difficult for them to do that. That's why I'm asking you if you considered putting it outside, whether it was grouped with another monument area that we have, or at the cemetery, because they do go to the cemetery and they do perform their ceremony there as well. That's the only reason I was asking that question.
Could I respond and ask you a question?
You go ahead.
Just so I completely understand where you're coming from. Are you suggesting that rather than having one in the town hall, okay, which is my original thought, you think it would be more beneficial to have it at the cemetery and just have one there rather than having two?
Whether it's the cemetery or another spot, so people could actually see it and appreciate it, because a lot of people don't end up in the town hall, right? And when you come in, you're in a mad dash to get down to the clerk's office or something, and unless you stopped and seen that plaque across from the building department that you're talking about, nobody would even know it's there. That's all. I'm just thinking that your efforts might be missed, right? It's good to capture that, and I'm all in favor of what you're talking about. I'm just thinking about, you do this, what happens type deal. That's all.
No, I understand and I agree with you. Visibility is very important, and we want it to be accessible. I agree with that too.
Yeah, and it should be part of the Memorial Day process when the Boy Scouts that go around and other groups go around. But to be able to access a Memorial Day, the building's not open, so now somebody would have to try to open it up for them to come in and do their ceremony. It's just a thought.
No, it's a good thought.
That's all.
It's a good thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd hate to see, kind of the same term as Mike, all your efforts, and honestly, people just walk by it. Because like you say, they go into the building department, they go into the town clerk, they got 5 minutes to get in and get out, and it can't really be, I don't want to say respected, but appreciated as it should be.
Another thing, as our board, it may be something that we should have the administrator look into, because the veterans account that keeps getting reduced because there's less and less veterans. Before it gets reduced, maybe we could partner up and, for lack of a better description, with Mr. Dudley and get a bronze plaque that would be outside that would have longevity to it.
The only problem with aluminum is it eventually corrodes.
That's why I was saying the bronze plaque, like the other ones that are outside.
I thought of that. But if it were my personal responsibility, which as I said I was willing to do, I wouldn't be able to go much beyond $3,000 out of my own pocket.
I'm not making a suggestion.
No, I know.
I'm trying to give you some traction on your
I know you are, and I appreciate it.
Do you have an idea what a bronze one range, what it costs?
I started looking at it and it was crazy. And I had people at the DAR tell me that it was crazy. So I haven't really looked into it. What is crazy? Well, if $3,000 is reasonable, if I had to just guess, and I know we're not here to guess, but if I had to guess at crazy, I would say probably closer to $10,000, I guess. I don't know.
It could potentially be that much, but the purpose that it serves, I don't think it's wasted money if it ended up being that much. And it's something good that this board should consider. Whether it's this one or future ones, we can't compel a future board, I fully understand that, but it's the thought process. Desert Storm is now 25 years old. It was only yesterday when the guys came back from Vietnam.
Yep.
I show my age a little bit. But
Were you in Vietnam?
nope, just missed it. When it ended, I was 15. Ended in 75.
Yeah. But
But just something to think about.
Yep. I think it's to Mike and Ross's point. I think there's a great value to having it outside. The one that is here, it just blends it. It may for people walking by, it might just blend in with the landscape on the wall, which is a shame. And I think probably finding an outdoor location that can be picked up by the parade is very important. And also maybe working with a historical society.
The cemetery is actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, I would work with both.
I go in the cemeteries and just wander around and look at different stuff.
It's amazing,
And,
like you said.
Yeah.
There's revolutionary soldiers buried right up here in the center.
William Dudley, my ancestor that I'm advertising here in this paperwork, is buried there.
Yeah.
Benjamin Dudley's buried there. Paul Dudley's buried there. Benjamin Wallace is buried there.
Yep.
They're all right there in the front.
So it may be fitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Betsy would be happy.
It's, I think it deserves the respect. It's also part of our town history,
Heritage.
which I greatly appreciate. Yeah.
You probably knew Charlie Church, right?
Certainly did.
He went to school with my father. And I remember him commenting and making a donation to support the Douglas Center Cemetery. And he commented how many Revolutionary War soldiers were buried there. And Charlie was a great guy. I was good friends with him. I sold him his first computer. And I taught him how to use it.
So, yeah, I think talking to the cemetery commission just to give them, early heads up and discussion with them, as well as their historical society and stuff like that, along with the veterans agent and stuff like that, because sometimes there's maybe opportunity for funding and through another sources that we're unaware of, because of the historical value and the veterans aspect. It might be worthwhile to touch base with those groups and committees, and then as you validate the names, I think that's one of the biggest things, right?
Might be more appreciated out in the open. That's been a pretty substantial sign.
I think
All when you kind of look at it.
I had, just on that particular note, when we had a voting here in the building, the last one, I can't remember who it was I was talking to, but I had made a mention about the plaque, because, it's been in my mind as I've shared with you. They said, I just saw it the first time when I was voting. They just looked up and there it was, It was the first time they'd ever seen it. And they live here in town.
Right.
So I think what Mr. Fitzpatrick says is very valid. And I think the direction that we're going, I think is great. I'd like to move forward with all that in mind. And my only request, for whatever it is I have to do, whatever I have to financially contribute, I just want to see my ancestor name on that plaque.
Or you're going to come up with a list.
Well, I know, but I don't want to. I'm not trying to do something shady here.
No.
He wasn't. He was not a combatant.
All due respect.
He was older. He was older.
Yep.
And he was on the committee of correspondence, and he's the one that organized all the paperwork that went back and forth, like you guys.
Somebody's going to do it, right? It's all part of it.
I think as you circle back with the historical commission and the cemetery commission, those groups and organizations, as well as veteran agents, as that goes through the process, it gets you an opportunity to validate the list to see if there's anything else that's missing, because best effort, right, of trying not to leave a name off the list.
Well, that's the thing. Yes. We don't want to leave anybody off. No.
Yep.
We don't want to leave anybody off.
So. No, I appreciate the time.
I think it's a great idea, Dan, and I don't think you're going to be you're going to find much opposition on this. I think a lot of people are going to be willing to help. And
I appreciate it.
The only concern I had was inside the building because of accessibility. So that's all.
Very well taken and totally accepted. All right. So I think the Douglas Center Cemetery is a good idea. That's where most of the Revolutionary War soldiers are buried. And,
So your next stop will be the cemetery commission.
Oh, Betsy? She's already sold.
She's not the whole,
She's not the whole commission. I think.
you're not going to get any resistance.
Yeah.
It's a process. Just common courtesy and
Yeah.
respect.
And I think location.
I doubt you'll find any.
Yeah.
You're not going to find any.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you gotta go.
She wants another plaque, she told me. When I told her about the town hall, she says, well, what about the cemetery?
Yeah. Great. No, and I think, and then, you
And I
know,
didn't call ahead of time for the record.
appreciate it.
Well, I would like to say, I know you guys are about ready to give me the boot, that I appreciate very much, I don't mean that literally, I mean, you know, figuratively. I appreciate very much the support, because this is, to me, this is a very important project for everyone.
100%.
We appreciate your
You
effort.
know,
Yeah.
it's very important,
Great.
you know, from the historical aspect and everything. So people don't forget.
Okay. All right, so I don't know exactly what's next, who's on first, what's on next, who's on first, what's on second. But I will speak with the people that I know that are involved with this. I just found out today from Rebecca that Lisa Mazinski's been involved in doing some research.
Yep.
I know she's, of course, with the Historical Society and her mother. Betsy, I don't know, is Shirley Cooney still on the cemetery thing?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
think
it's
so.
Sarah,
Yeah.
Leo Lyons,
Yep.
and Betsy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm friends with, you know, not that I need to be friends with anybody, but I'm just saying I'm friends with
You're not going to
Sarah.
have any problem with it. Yeah.
It's just making sure everybody's on the same page and
It's just
like the
process.
location, right? I think,
It's their sandbox, we don't step in it.
correct.
Right.
100%.
Okay, all right, so is there anything else I need to do?
No.
Here?
No,
no.
yeah, that's good.
So just to wrap it up, Mr. Chairman, we can check with Matt, see if there's any funds available in that veterans thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is or not, that's not a promise, it's just a target that I've seen that potentially could help you with.
Yeah.
And on the money thing, I'd just like to say one last thing. I've got a fair amount of experience in fundraising, so if it does get expensive and there's not enough money, I'd be totally willing to help with fundraising. I used to do that when I was the president of the SAR chapter in Worcester.
I think it creates a great opportunity to
You
fundraise.
would have raised it like 34 million.
I don't know about that.
One? What can you give us?
We're going to come in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, what I did is I basically reached out to the local business owners and asked them if they wanted to be on a program guide. I did an event for the Asa Waters Mansion and Artemis Ward when I was the president of the SAR chapter in Worcester, and we had a really like statewide recognition. Karen Polito was there, handed out awards and everything for a job well done and all that. And nobody there was no money. I had to come up with the money.
Yeah.
You know, and so I said, okay.
I think to
I
do
think you'll get support.
Yeah, I think you get, I think this is a great opportunity to fundraise, to up-level the plaque that you're considering, to maybe up-level it from there. So I think, the more, I wouldn't rush to put a plaque in that, that others want to be involved in and be part of. So
I didn't know I was so quiet.
I think this is just an opportunity. So I think, the Cemetery Commission and others can, spread the message that this is activities going on and go forward from there and get people to kind of see what the pricing is for the next level plaque.
There's two 50th events happening next year, too.
Actually,
You know, it's not just
Yeah.
this year.
So you got to hurry up.
yeah, Ross
I
is.
know, I have to hurry up. I'm not getting any younger. I'll be 73 August 7th.
No, you don't look a day over 74.
There you go. Well,
Thank you, Dan.
thank you, Dan.
Thanks.
Good time.
Thank you. I mean, this is, and I don't want to, I'm not trying to butter you up, but this is the best selectman meeting in Douglas I've ever been to.
Appreciate it.
So you never been to one?
I've been to other ones. I think that I'm not going to get into politics, but I think the new regime select board is superior to the previous one. I'll just say.
Okay.
Well,
Well, I don't, you know,
Sorry, Tim.
I don't know when's the last time you
He's
I
been
know.
here for a couple regimes.
I know he's not going to disagree.
It might have been 1970 last time you presented before, so appreciate it, Dan, thank
And
you.
I'm going to take my Werthers with me.
There you go.
No. I
I
usually
think
don't eat
he
cake,
may be
but I
speaking
appreciate
of a
it.
Canadian friend of
And
ours.
thanks again. You guys take care, and we'll move forward and upwards.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay.
All right. Next item on the agenda is a review the Board of Selectmen policy and procedures. Possible votes,
Yeah.
discussion.
My hunch here is that we were made short due to the awkwardness of today's Monday meeting. And I know this has been tabled, but, I think it's probably best to have these discussions with the full board, so I would pass over that.
Agree?
Yeah, I'm agreeing.
Sounds good.
Agreement, yeah.
Okay.
Unless it's a nice night.
Yep, we'll move forward. Number 8 is no minutes for tonight for us to approve.
Okay.
So they're pretty straightforward. Number 9, any topics not reasonably anticipated within 48 hours of our meeting? Hearing none, seeing none.
Negative.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Ross. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for your time.
Those get